Hi, this is Kathy Walk, and I'm with the InfoHub show. And today we have a very special guest, Diane Stein, and she is the president of the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, the Florida chapter. This is a nonprofit advocacy organization dedicated to the protection of children. So I'd like to turn this over to Diane and let her tell you about it.
Thank you, Kathy. I'm very happy to be here today. I want to talk about something that's near and dear to my heart. It's the subject of involuntary examination of children here in the state of Florida, as well as parental rights. So our organization, the Citizens Commission on Human Rights, also known as CCHR, has been very active over the past 5 or 6 years, specifically on the subject of involuntary examination of kids. Now, in Florida, that's called a Baker Act. Some of you may be familiar with that term, and some of you may not be. It's called the Baker Act simply because the name of the politician who reformed the law in the 1970s was Maxine Baker. Now, under this law, tens of thousands of children are taken into custody every year without parental knowledge or consent. And for me and our organization, that's a real problem. It violates parental rights. It violates so much. It really is a human rights abuse. So we took it upon ourselves to join with other organizations such as the Florida Parent-Teacher Association, Parental Rights, which is a national organization that has a chapter here in Florida, the Florida Citizens Alliance, many others, to ask our lawmakers to make effective change in 2021. And that's exactly what happened. And so that's what I'm going to tell you about. That was kind of the problem. You know, basically you have children being taken away to psychiatric wards without the parents even knowing they're off school grounds, literally in handcuffs, back of a police car. You know, parent doesn't know anything that's going on. They find out when the kid doesn't come home from school sort of situation, to kids being taught things mental health wise or screened without parents knowing about it, or parents being told they have to drug their child in order for them to attend school. All of these things were the problem. And this is the solution, and this is where the good news comes in, okay? So working with these different organizations and many thousands of people, honestly, we were able to get lawmakers to file a couple of bills this year, one of which is called the Parents' Bill of Rights, and the other is called School Safety. Now, the school safety bill is very, very simple. It has a lot of interesting points to it that I'm not going to get into for the purposes of this show. But the most interesting for us and the most important for us happens to be the fact that now, before a child can be sent for an involuntary examination at a school or a school activity, the school must call the parents. Now, that's important because it gives the parent an opportunity to intercede and act on behalf of their child, as is their right. Now, this will prevent many needless Baker Acts, okay? And as you can imagine, a Baker Act is pretty traumatic for anyone, but especially a child. Now, we know that this is actually a very workable solution because over the past few years, we've been asking law enforcement and schools to adopt internal policy to simply call the parent first. You know, makes sense, right? And they have been doing that. And as of last night, it was revealed that the Baker Act numbers have dropped significantly for the first time in 20 years. In fact, the number of children Baker Acted dropped by 5% simply by having the law enforcement call parents first, and a few other changes that occurred in the state, we had a significant reduction. So with the passage of this law and it becoming universal across the state of Florida, we really are going to have a situation where 4 million kids are better protected from abuse under this law. Now, the second bill, which I'm very excited about, is the Parents' Bill of Rights. And Parental Rights Florida worked really hard on this bill. So did so many other people, and the lawmakers behind this bill were so incredibly passionate. House Representative Aaron Grawl, who championed this bill last year as well, just amazing. And Senator Rodriguez, really, really passionate about this subject. And this is a very interesting topic. Here in the United States, parental rights are viewed as fundamental. That simply means that nobody has to tell you what your rights are. They just exist. Everybody knows that it's your right to raise your child as you see fit. Unfortunately, throughout our history, it's like we were founded quite some time ago, right? It didn't happen yesterday. So over time, these rights have been kind of eroded away and pushed to the side and in some cases ignored, to the point where, as an example, a father in a school district south of here, he found out that his 8-year-old was going to be taught something called 10 Days of Unity, I think was the name of it. I don't remember exactly what the name of it was, but he didn't know what that was. So he asked the school, hey, so, what are you going to be teaching my 8-year-old? And the school refused to tell him. Now, that is a violation of law. It's a violation of his rights as a parent to direct the upbringing education of his son. So that's, what the problem was, right? These types of situations were happening all over the state of Florida, and we were getting calls, Parental Rights was getting calls of just abuse and violations of parental rights. So the Parents' Bill of Rights here in the state of Florida did one simple thing. It took and codified, basically found and organized all of the rights that exist currently, well, not all of them, basically all of them, that exist in Florida statute, and put them in one easy to find location. So now if a parent wants to know, hey, wait a minute, should I be able to do this with my child? Or what about, I'm being told this, with regards to the medical care or religious upbringing or, mental health care, whatever it is about my child, what are my rights? The parent can easily find these rights right there in statute. Before, it was a mess. You really just couldn't find it. Parents really didn't know what their rights were. And as a result, you would have parents in situations where they would make decisions and then later regret these decisions because they didn't know that they had rights and they could say no. Or they didn't know they had rights and they could say, yes, I want this for my child. So that was really, really key, just getting this passed. One of the things that our chapter here in Florida for CCHR is doing is we've put all of these rights in a very easy booklet for parents. This booklet is free. People can download it online. We have hard copies of it that we send out or hand out at events. And it's pocket sized, so we're getting it out to law enforcement, we're getting it out to schools, so that everyone can be on the same page as to what rights do parents have in the state of Florida, and are we in compliance with them? Are we not in compliance with them? What do we need to change? Or we're all good, whatever it is. And we've also created a more simple trifold brochure for parents that specifically goes over the rights that deal with mental health abuse. Unfortunately, that is quite prevalent. So making sure that people really do understand that they do not have to allow their child to be psychologically screened. Parents cannot be forced to put their child on psychiatric drugs as a requirement for them to participate in school or school services. So knowing these different mental health rights is equally as important as knowing the bulk of the parental rights as well. So we did create something specific for that. As a part of the public information campaign we've launched in order to educate people on their rights or families on their rights, it's simple. It's called Know Your Rights. And the premise behind it is if people know their rights, they can then protect them and take effective action to make the world a better place. So we'll be getting out copies of these rights to all 2 million households with families here in the state of Florida as a primary action, using social media, mail, email, you name it, whatever means of communication we need to use in order to make sure that Florida families know their rights. With that said, I wanted you to know that as an advocacy organization, CCHR Florida is really there for you. For example, this past year, we worked with like-minded groups, organizations with similar goals, as well as everyday average people on the street to really make some serious changes to laws in the state of Florida. We were able to help pass 5 bills that will become law in July of this year that will really facilitate a greater improvement for mental health human rights here in the state of Florida. We also helped to kill 33 bills that would have really worsened the mental health situation here in the state of Florida, really infringed on rights for children, parents, families, as well as just overall mental health human rights. So this is something that we do complimentary. It's free of charge. We are a nonprofit. We're non-religious. We're non-political. So if you need help, if there is an abuse that you have suffered, you can contact us. If you're looking for an attorney because you need help because your rights were violated, we can help you. Or if you see a problem regarding human rights, parental rights, mental health rights here in the state of Florida, and you think a change should be made to our laws, you can also contact us as an advocacy group and we'll see what we can do to help you. It's real easy to do so. You can call us at 800-782-2878 or visit us online at www.cchrflorida.org. We're also on social media. We've made it very easy for anyone to contact us.
Thanks for watching. Video production by InfoHub Studios, sponsored by Consumer Energy Solutions.